A recent survey has found that the majority of lecturers at the University of Huddersfield are in favour of peer observation on their teaching. The findings, which were undertaken with over 140 members of staff, show that around two-thirds of those asked believe it enhances their teaching practices. 63% said it enhances the quality of their teaching, whilst 49% said it encourages discussion of their teaching and learning issues. However, 25% of people felt it had no impact at all. Tim Thornton, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of Teaching and Learning, offered to explain the results.
It's based on the principle that we have some really quite outstanding colleagues here and that we can learn a lot from each other. Depending on the particular setting, and there are slightly different arrangements in different parts of the university, peer observation of teaching is about one academic colleague observing, listening to, watching another academic colleague teaching, and then providing some feedback, some advice, some guidance, some support, some praise for what they've observed. It's allowed us to enhance the quality of teaching here at the university to the level that I'm sure, as you know, in the most recent Sunday Times League table for teaching excellence, the University of Huddersfield was ranked #1 in the north of England. We did a survey a few months ago which suggested that there are different views on how peer observation teaching actually works. In general and in particular areas, there does seem to be a positive view that peer observation of teaching allows for an improvement of practice. In other areas, perhaps the view was more mixed, but there are various things that we've done to enhance peer observation of teaching, which I'm sure will address some of those concerns. One of the things that we've experimented with is the idea of having peer observation taking place across departments and across schools. So instead of it just being chemists who peer observe chemists and designers who peer observe designers, we are providing opportunities for designers to peer observe chemists and chemists to peer observe designers, because we think there are perhaps even more insights that can be gained from having people outside of the immediate subject area offering views and comments on how teaching and learning works. Take-up is still relatively low. We've had about a year's operation. I think as the university steps up further its push towards really outstanding teaching and learning, we'll find colleagues looking for additional sources of advice and support, and the supporting peers scheme will spread. The approach that we're taking is very much one of seeing peer observation as being a supportive mechanism. We know that colleagues are encouraged by peers and by managers in particular areas to look for ways in which they can enhance their practice, and the availability of the supporting peers scheme is one that's flagged through appraisal, through line management arrangements, as well as being promoted through events like the University Teaching and Learning Conference, which always has a good turnout. I think it will still be an absolutely fundamental element of the way in which we improve teaching and learning at the university. There are various other exciting developments that we have in train. It's not quite peer observation, but we are developing a scheme with the student union for students to operate as teaching and learning consultants. So this will be an opportunity for staff to learn from students, not necessarily from within their own area, but trained students who will come in and observe what they're doing, and with a fresh pair of eyes offer some ideas about what's working well and what isn't working so well in the particular teaching and learning that they're doing. We've been very keen, again, one of those initiatives I mentioned earlier, we've been very keen to broaden the scope of peer observation of teaching. This is again with the conventional academic involvement, to broaden its scope so that it isn't just about what might be seen as conventional lecture, seminar or workshop teaching, but it also involves, for example, work that colleagues are doing online. So if they are leading online seminars, or if they're engaging with students through social media, those might be important parts of their teaching, and they can now benefit from the insight of colleagues who will peer observe their work in that area as well as, or just in the way that they might have done for a lecture or a seminar in the past. So it's constantly changing, it's constantly developing, some really exciting initiatives. All of them will help to gain more engagement and certainly to provide a lot more rewards in terms of improved practice, I'm sure, here at the university.